I used to swear a Glock was the smartest everyday carry play. But the deeper I've gone down the rabbit hole on modern snub revolvers, the more I see these little wheel guns fixing problems pistols still trip over. Between the 6-shot layouts, cleaner triggers, and even red dot ready snub setups showing up in 2025, some of these tiny revolvers are honestly the more practical carry choice. What's up? This is Tom from the Armory. Today I'm walking you through 6 small revolvers that, after running them on the range and hearing what serious trainers actually keep on their belt, I trust more than some Glocks for pure reliability, real concealment, and zero drama function when life gets messy. Before we jump in, do me a favor, hit subscribe, smack the bell, punch all the buttons down there. You don't have to, but it keeps the channel alive, and it lets me keep bringing you this no BS gun talk. All right, that's enough of the housekeeping. Let's get into it. Ruger LCRx. I carry a lot of different guns, and I'll tell you this with my chest. The Ruger LCRx reshaped how I look at snub revolvers. It's crazy light, it indexes fast, and it solves a bunch of the carry headaches folks blame on micro Glocks. In the short barrel setup, it's right around 13.5 ounces. That's light enough to disappear in a pocket, but not so light that it feels like a firecracker in your hand. That's exactly why I drop it into a deep carry rig when I want a carry gun that just behaves. The frame is aerospace-grade aluminum, backed up by Ruger's polymer fire control housing. So you get low weight, but the internal geometry stays locked in for a trigger that feels the same every time. And the trigger pull? This isn't that old-school gritty stacking double-action slog. Ruger's friction-reducing cam keeps the pull smoother and helps you avoid that hits-the-wall stacking feeling. That translates into quicker follow-ups and more controllable hits when it actually counts. You're also getting a stainless PVD finished, fluted cylinder under that lightweight body, which buys you longevity and corrosion resistance. Then Ruger tops it off with the Hogue Tamar monogrip, which cuts the sting and helps you settle back on target. You've got a pinned, replaceable ramp front sight, and you've got an exposed hammer, so if you want a clean single-action press for a deliberate shot, you can do that. That's flexibility you usually don't get from tiny carry pistols. Bottom line, if you want a low-maintenance, easy-to-carry revolver that still runs real defensive ammo and doesn't get weird when stress spikes, the LCRx is a seriously sensible option. Kimber K6S. I rotated through a lot of pistols before the Kimber K6S earned a permanent spot with me. What grabbed me was simple. Kimber stuffed 6 rounds of .357 Magnum capability into a compact revolver that's still actually shootable. Kimber sells the K6S as the lightest small-frame 6-shot .357 Magnum revolver, and you can get it with 2, 3, or 4-inch barrels, so you can lean hard into concealment or pick the setup that tracks flatter and shoots softer. On the range, the K6S surprised me in a good way. That double action pull is smooth, and it stays consistent through the stroke like a serious carry revolver should. Kimber also offers double action / single action versions if you want that lighter single action break. And a lot of hands-on reviewers have called that factory trigger one of the best in the mainstream defensive revolver world. The cylinder release is a rounded push button. It opens clean, and it doesn't chew up your thumb like some older J-frame style latches. Add in replaceable sights and usable factory grip choices, and you can make it carry ready without immediately paying a gunsmith. Does it replace a Glock for everyone? No. You're giving up higher round counts and the fast manipulations a semi-auto gives you, but you gain a snag-free draw, a 6-shot cylinder that runs defensive loads without feeding drama, and a revolver that just keeps cycling under pressure. In quick drills, I was getting repeatable hits, and I had 0 stovepipes. That predictable function is exactly why I grabbed the K6S when I want honest performance with low effort and low maintenance. If your priority is no surprises and 6 legit rounds in a compact revolver, the Kimber K6S is a strong alternative. Smith & Wesson's Performance Center Pro Model 642 is one of the sharpest deep carry revolvers out there that's still built for real-world defense. I reach for it when I want the smallest profile possible with a clean, snag-free draw, but I still want a gun that will take real defensive ammo. This Pro setup comes with a 1.88-inch stainless barrel, a stainless cylinder cut for moon clips, and an aluminum alloy frame that keeps it right around 14.5 ounces. The Pro Series detail matters because it's already cut for moon clips, and the moon clips come in the box. That means reloads under pressure are actually doable instead of being a circus trick. Smith rates it for steady plus P use, and the Pro model ditches the internal lock, which a lot of carry guys consider a win because it's one less variable in the system. The double action only trigger is long, but it's consistent, and I'll take a consistent trigger over a surprise light trigger when adrenaline is dumping. You can stage it, you can manage it, and you can still deliver solid hits. The enclosed hammer keeps it slick on the draw. No snagging on pockets, no snagging on cover garments, just out and on target. If you want a tiny 5-shot revolver that handles plus P, supports fast reloads with moon clips, and cuts down on carry headaches, the 642 Performance Center Pro is a practical, no-nonsense choice. Put in reps with moon clips, and those 5 rounds turn into an actual reload plan, and a spare clip rides almost like a spare magazine. The Taurus 856 Defender TORO is one of the few revolvers that legitimately made me pause and reconsider carrying a Glock. I wanted simple, I wanted dependable, but I also wanted modern features, and this one checks boxes most snubs never even try to touch. Right out of the case, it's optics ready. No sketchy adapter plates, no sending it out for a cut. You can bolt on a Holosun K-Series or a Primary Arms MRSC, and now you've got a red dot on a snub revolver. That matters if you want quick sight pickup without fighting small fixed irons. This one is a 6-shot 380 Special Plus P, so you're getting more capacity than a typical J-frame while still staying carry-friendly. At around 23.5 ounces, recoil is completely manageable, even when you step into hotter loads. And that 3-inch barrel helps too. You get more velocity than a 2-inch snub, but it's still compact enough to disappear under a hoodie or light jacket. The full underlug and the longer ejector rod make ejection and reload smoother than a lot of older designs. Yeah, I've heard the heavy trigger complaints. And sure, it's not a tuned Smith, but it slicks up with use. And let's be real, this is a defensive gun, not a competition toy. What I like most is how useful it is. I can carry it, I can shoot it well, and I can trust it. No worrying about finicky optics setups, no worrying about feeding issues. If you like revolvers but you also want modern upgrades, this is a legit Glock alternative. Charter Arms Double Dog. I picked up the Charter Arms Double Dog because I wanted a compact revolver that gave me flexibility. This is a convertible 5-shot wheel gun that ships with 2 cylinders. 1 cylinder for .357 Magnum and 1 cylinder for 9mm. And you can run the 9mm setup without moon clips. The swap is a simple single-screw procedure that Charter actually documents. Charter offers the Double Dog in 2.2 and 4.2-inch barrels with stainless or black passivate finishes and walnut grips. The 2.2-inch model sits in the low 20-ounce range, and the 4.2-inch is heavier. It's double action / single action, fixed sights, and an MSRP in the low 600s. So you're getting durability and versatility at a price that can look pretty reasonable next to a lot of optic-ready pistols. What really stands out is the barrel porting. That porting helps tame muzzle flip when I feed it full .357 loads. And on the 9mm cylinder, Charter uses spring-loaded detents in the extractor star to grab rimless cases. So you don't need moon clips. Now that also means reloads are slower than popping in a moon clip. So I run speed strips, or I'll even use a magazine as a dispenser depending on what I'm doing. On the range, it ran every load I put through it based on independent tests and write-ups. And that ported snub setup makes Magnum power more realistic in a small revolver. If you're tired of the Glock treadmill, the Double Dog is a legit alternative. You get Magnum punch. You get the option to shoot common 9mm without clips. You get simple maintenance. You get that tactile, no electronics simplicity, and it carries well. Colt King Cobra Carry. I grabbed the Colt King Cobra Carry because I wanted a compact revolver that still felt like a real Colt. Not a toy, not a gimmick. This is a 2-inch, 6-shot revolver that weighs about 26 ounces. And that weight gives it balance a lot of snubbies just don't have. It points fast, but it still has enough mass to keep recoil honest and follow-ups controllable. Once I shot it, I got it. The double action pull measured about 8 pounds, 7 ounces on my wheeler gauge, and it ran 380 special and hotter 357 loads without complaining. I was seeing 2 to 3 inch groups on an Ohio silhouette with typical 158 grain, 380 FMJ. And the Hogue pebble grips locked the gun into my hand and helped control Magnum snaps when I stepped into the hotter stuff. The cylinder rotates clockwise, and that bank vault lockup translates into tight groups and confidence that each round is locked and aligned for ignition. If you want a carry gun that blends old-school Colt feel with modern production reliability, this is it. The King Cobra hits that sweet spot between classic and practical. It's not a featherweight pocket toy. It's a real defensive revolver that still conceals under a cover garment, and it plays nice with common holsters like the Galco Combat Master. With a street price lower than a Python and fit and finish that screams quality, I'd trust it as a 6-shot alternative to a micro Glock for someone who wants legit 357 capability, real controllability, and that classic revolver confidence. Ruger SP-101. I did not expect to like the Ruger SP-101 as much as I do. But after shooting a Bob 357 at a Utah range, my opinion flipped quick. This thing is brutally simple, and it's built like a little tank. The stainless steel frame and solid construction mean you can run hot Magnum practice without babying it. And that extra weight reduces felt recoil compared to ultralight snubbies. So follow-up shots are realistic. That weight is the point. A 2.25-inch SP-101 at about 25.5 ounces is still carryable, but it soaks up power and stays accurate at defensive distances. The short sight radius forces you to work. You've got to focus on that front sight. That's why reps matter. But in my first drills, I was putting 5 rounds into roughly the same hole at 10 yards. Ruger's push-in, cylinder latch, and clean lines make it easy to run and easy to maintain in the field. Pick the SP-101 if you want ammo flexibility and rock-solid reliability. It'll shoot 357 Magnum, 380 Special, and even converted 9mm variants. And it doesn't get picky about odd loads the way some automatics do. If you value durability, predictable function, and a gun that gives honest feedback instead of punishing you, the SP-101 can be a better tool than a micro Glock for a lot of carry plans. Ruger introduced the SP-101 in 1993, and it's still in production, with barrel options from 2 to 4 inches and multiple calibers. So you're buying into a proven platform with real selection and real value. Diamondback SDR. The Diamondback SDR caught my attention because it pulls off something most snubs don't. It squeezes 6 rounds of 357 Magnum into a package that still carries like a 5-shooter. Most revolvers in this size class cap out at 5 shots. But the SDR cylinder measures only 1.38 inches wide. To put that in perspective, that's about 0.03 of an inch wider than a Ruger SP-101 and way slimmer than a GP100. So you're basically getting 1 extra round without adding a bunch of bulk. Even with a forged stainless steel frame, it stays surprisingly light. Mine came in at just over 21 ounces empty. That's lighter than a Kimber K6S, but still stout enough to soak recoil. The trigger also impressed me. Double action was around 9.5 pounds, smooth through the stroke. Single action broke crisp at a little over 3, not competition light, but absolutely workable for a defensive revolver. What really separates the SDR from older snubs is the sight system. Instead of that old trench sight in dull blade, Diamondback gives you a pinned fiber optic front in bright orange and a drift-adjustable rear with green fibers. Under range lighting, and even in outdoor shade, those sights jump out at you. I had no problem keeping groups inside a couple of inches at 7 yards with 380 Special plus P. And when I stepped into full-power 357 loads, it didn't beat me up. It's American-made, priced under $800, and it carries like a true pocket revolver with the bonus of 6 shots on tap. For someone wanting a simple, reliable defensive gun instead of a Glock, the SDR makes a seriously strong argument. Before you bounce, drop a comment. Which one of these snubs are you carrying and why? 6-shot capacity, plus P, 357 Magnum, moon clips, or that red dot ready setup? If this helped, hit subscribe. Tap the bell and set it to all. Appreciate you riding with me. Stay safe, carry smart, See you on the next one.